I know, I look like complete crap, but whatever. It's my boyfriend's shirt, and I'm hanging out and having my coffee with you guys so I can continue part 2 of 14 and pregnant. So last time I left off, I was telling you about how I found out it was a girl. How Chris's dad gave me $300 so I could go get an abortion, and I instead went and got an ultrasound. My mom and my sister and I and my sister's little friend, we went to a 4D ultrasound place like that you can buy. It's not like doctor appointed or anything, to find out if I was having a boy or a girl. I was 14 weeks when I went, and I remember we were all placing bets to see what we were having. If we're gonna get ice cream, if it's a boy, and Phoebe, if it's a girl, we'll get you like a Whipkins or something. It was all in good fun. So then finally, I see on the screen, it's a girl! And I always knew deep down it was a girl. I had a feeling from the moment they said it was a girl. And I texted him right afterwards, bitch, it's a girl! As I got bigger, things around town, you know, just that kind of social pressure and, you know, just, you know, rudeness from people that you get. I'm sure everyone who has been a teenager and been pregnant has experienced it. But in Tampa, I don't know, I felt it like times 1,000. Just crank that shit up. I felt it, which I don't know why. So afterwards, it was time for a name. So her boy's name was going to be Rowan Tyler Gabriel, for my friend that passed away before I got pregnant with Evelyn. And I was trying to think of a name, and I thought of Evelyn because, one, I love the movie The Mummy, and Rachel Weisz was just so beautiful and pretty, and I always thought that was what Evelyn would look like, was like Rachel Weisz, because her dad had naturally dark eyes and dark hair. So I thought she was going to be like this dark-haired, dark-eyed beauty. Little did I know. I wanted something with my mom's middle name, Lynn, in there. And Evelyn is just a really classic name. And I really like classic names, as you can see with Elliot and Harrison. Just classic names that you don't hear too often, which you can see Elliot in the background. Rhapsody. I picked Rhapsody because I first felt Evelyn kick when I was listening to Bohemian Rhapsody. My family were huge Queen fans. Freddie Mercury is life. He really is. His voice is just sent by angels from heaven above. I chose Rhapsody, one, because it's uncommon, and it was a real nod to our family. Rose was something that I picked because I knew she would be beautiful, number one, and when Tyler passed away, I gave him a rose at his funeral. So, Rose. And Bright was her last name because I did not want her to have my last name, and I did not want her to have his last name because he didn't earn the right to put his last name with her. So Evelyn Rhapsody Rose Bright would be her name. Everyone loved it. I got so many people saying like that is just a really interesting name and everything, and it was right. It was right to me. So Evelyn Rhapsody Rose. My pregnancy is still going really well. You know, I'm not having that much morning sickness, and around the time of 6 months, like I was finally like eating again and just feeling healthy. I was taking my prenatal vitamins. Everything was great, except for everything, you know, outside of my womb. If you hear that weird noise, it's just my window open. Yeah, I need a coffee break. You know, it got to a point, my dad, I was mentioning a little bit about my father last time, and my father was really, wow! My father was really the biggest push for, sorry for the interruption. My dad was really a huge reason for us leaving. He was becoming increasingly violent. He kept threatening me and my unborn child and threatening my mother. And my father's had a history of being violent with me. When I was in his care when I was 7, he practically beat me on a daily basis. He really hated the fact that I was my mother's child, and the only reason why I was ever in his care is because he didn't, that's a whole nother video. We won't even get into that. That's another video. Just know, point A, dad's a douchebag. Point B, dad's a douchebag. Point C, he's a huge douchebag. My dad ended up putting my head through a wall while I was about 4 months pregnant. That was a big push for us to leave. Finally, I turned 15, May 3rd, 2008. I was 5.5 months pregnant, and my mom decided we were going to California, and we packed up everything, and we left with a duffel bag each. You get a duffel bag, you get a duffel bag, you get a duffel bag. For each of us, and our dog and our cat, we packed up in a Daewoo Laganza, which I will put here. That car, so we left after that. My mom drove to Beaver Lake Campgrounds, where I got to experience the beauty and grandeur of a McDonald's and a Shell station built into one building. Such architecture cannot be gone unmentioned. Give me my gas and my french fries. After that, we woke up the next morning and we drove to New Orleans. New Orleans unto itself was just amazing. It was the first time our family felt free. We were away from Florida, we were away from those assholes, and everyone in New Orleans was just so nice. We went to this restaurant. I was craving crawfish this entire time. That is one of my cravings. And we went to this little restaurant, and I had crawfish etouffee, my mom had jambalaya, and Phoebe wanted spaghetti. So I had the crawfish etouffee. The owners of the restaurant come over. They're congratulating us, and we're talking to them about our experience back in Florida, and they're just like, we'll adopt you. Screw it. You live here, and you know what? When you have the baby, you can work at my restaurant. It's fine. And you can, you know, I got another house y'all can have. Sweetest people on the planet. I love New Orleans. And they gave me my crawfish etouffee on the house as a baby shower gift. After New Orleans, we packed up and we drove through Louisiana, because New Orleans is a little bit on the eastern part of Louisiana. You still have to get through the west side of Louisiana. We go through, we drive to Texas. It takes us 2 days to get through Texas because that state is huge. Just Jesus. And there's like 1,000 miles in that state, and there's probably 500 of it with nothing. With absolute nothing. You're just going through, it's desert and hills and bushes and nothing. And there's like 300 miles of windmills. The windmills were terrifying. It looked like something out of War of the Worlds. I know it's good for the planet, but it still looked terrifying. After that, we get to New Mexico and we drive to Santa Fe. Now, we stayed in Santa Fe for 9 days because when we left, we only had about $750 to her, well, my mom had $750 to her name. And that was all we had for that. I mean, this literally was a leap of faith, living on a prayer, and all the Bon Jovi songs you can cram into a moment. This was what this was. We stayed in New Mexico in a shelter because we just didn't want our dad finding out where we were, and we stayed there. Santa Fe is gorgeous. I want to go there again. I want to go to Louisiana again because I love that damn state so much. Santa Fe, though, was just beautiful. There was mountains. I had never seen mountains before because I'm just flat Florida, just flat as a pancake. And there's just these mountains and the greenery and the roses and the adobe, and the sky almost seemed like a different hue of blue. It was a much more silvery color. The clouds even seemed fluffier. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. We stayed there for 9 days. Afterwards, we left, and I ended up getting altitude sickness, and I started spotting, which I freaked out because I'm like 6.5 months pregnant now. I started spotting. Didn't know why, and I was really nauseous and everything. They checked me. They're like, she's getting altitude sickness. You need to get her back down to sea level. So after that, my mom and the family, we were known as the Bright Nebula. And we were known as the Bright Nebula because I wrote a poem about how we were all forming. And I put it in Evelyn's Birth Stories video, how we were all forming and everything seemed dark and we don't exactly know what we were going to be, and there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of gravity, and things are coming together. And when they come together in that darkness with all that crap, all the dust and the rocks and the ice and everything, it forms a star, and gas too. Hydrogen and helium and pressure and gravity, and boom, it's bright. So the Bright Nebula. We all start heading out. We head to Arizona. We're going to the Grand Canyon, you guys. We're going to the Grand Canyon, y'all. We go to the Grand Canyon. Now here's the thing. Quick story. We go to the Grand Canyon and we start seeing signs about how no refunds. Okay. $25 entry fee. No refund. Okay. No refund. Again. Okay, why did I post this twice? It's the Grand Canyon. It's beautiful. No refund. Again? Really? Like 3 times? You need 3 times to like, this is the Grand Canyon. Why would you need a refund? We understood. Having not that much money and seeing the Grand Canyon, it freaked me out a little bit. It was this big thing. It is gorgeous, but we were just so tired. We had driven literally almost 3,000 miles. Well, my mom had driven, bless her soul, 3,000 miles in a car with her pregnant teenager and her other preteen and her bulldog and my cat. All sorts of stuff, so we're tired. So the beauty and the grandeur of the Grand Canyon was not necessarily hitting us in our hearts at that moment. And my mom's like, we're getting a refund. Okay, so I pretend to go into labor so we can get our money back. And we did! Off to California. We go, and we drove all through Arizona, and that night we landed in Long Beach, California. We got to the shore. We got to Long Beach. My sister and I, we get out of the car and we like run. We run onto the sand. And we're like feeling it, and we're feeling how different it feels from Florida and those white shelly sands that's a lot softer. This was a grittier, real sand. And we're looking, and there's like the moon in the sky, and it's gorgeous, and we see the water. And for me, it was like we were home. We were finally away. We were free, finally. And it was a beautiful thing, because it was like 2.5 weeks prior to that, I was standing on another coast looking in a different direction, and here I am looking this way. And it was just very poetic and very beautiful. Thank you for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for part 3 where I go more into our California adventure. I really appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe for part 3 to come. Thank you.